guys back for part 5 of our P.E.A.C.E series. So far we've carried through the past 4 weeks discussing the first 4 parts of the P.E.A.C.E acronym, being issues regarding parenting, issues regarding equitable distribution, alimony. Last week we talked about child support, so this is the last part of the series. So the E and the last E in the P.E.A.C.E acronym is for everything else. So everything else, what does that mean? Basically, like it sounds, it's kind of the catch-all for all the other issues that kind of come up in a divorce that don't fit squarely into those 4 other areas. One of the biggest of the everything else is attorney's fees. We spend a lot of time in Florida arguing over attorney's fees. Whether or not one party should be responsible to pay the other party's attorney's fees, whether those attorney's fees are reasonable. Luckily, at least for my clients, I have testified previously as an attorney fee expert, and therefore have had the ability to kind of take the time to read the various case law, statutes, rules, etc., dealing with how an attorney should be billing, what they shouldn't be doing in their billing, what constitutes a reasonable fee, etc. Much like the alimony consideration with attorney's fees, depending on what form of attorney's fees you're looking for, there is an analysis done by the court as to the need of the party requesting attorney's fees and the ability of the party that the fees are being requested from to pay. So this is where the financial affidavits and mandatory disclosure, the discovery process that we engage in the family law, really comes into play, because we can have a situation, again, like with alimony, where the party requesting attorney's fees have a definite need for attorney's fees, but unfortunately the party that they're seeking the fees from just doesn't have an ability to pay. Either they don't have any assets at all, or the assets that they do have aren't fungible. Fungible is a word that we use, just means something that can be liquidated and turned into cash to pay the other party. So attorney's fees, that's a really big part of these cases, because most people don't realize how expensive these cases can get. Pretty much any family law attorney you run across is going to be billing hourly, and these cases sometimes go into the hundreds of hours, not even counting if you're appointing a guardian ad litem for the welfare of the children, or a forensic accountant to figure out the finances of the parties, or a parenting coordinator, or a private investigator, a social investigator, a employment expert. There's all manner of experts that we can utilize in a dissolution or family law case that run up costs or fees, and oftentimes those fees need to be reapportioned by the court as to who's going to be responsible for paying them. So that's a big part of this. Some other things in the everything else are name changes. Oftentimes after a dissolution, the wife is looking to have her name restored to her maiden name, or in some cases change to some name, different name altogether, and so there's issues there. Another issue that comes up, and I think I touched on this briefly in child support, is who's going to claim the children for tax purposes. Sometimes if there's one child, the parties might rotate, and even in odd years, if there's more than one child, they might split. If there's an odd number of children, they might rotate who claims the majority of the children. There's all different kind of ways to do that, and please, I'm not a tax attorney, I'm not an accountant, so always defer to your accountant or tax attorney on issues of taxes, but this is something that oftentimes does come up in a dissolution matter. Another thing that comes up is life insurance. So if there's a child support obligation or an alimony obligation from one party to the other, oftentimes the party receiving those monies will ask for a life insurance policy for the paying party, so that in the case that they expire before that obligation were to end, there's still going to be that money out there to help that party either support themselves or support the children. So oftentimes there's a request for life insurance, for a life insurance policy to be taken out to protect those payments. So I could probably go on for 10 more hours about all the little things that pop up in a divorce, but those are kind of the big ones that come up under everything else. So hope you found this P.E.A.C.E series informative. This is not going to be the end of my videos. This is just kind of our introduction to family law. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be discussing establishing and disestablishing paternity. I'm going to be discussing injunctions for domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, sexual violence, those sorts of things, parental relocation, etc. So we have a lot more good topics that I'll be touching on in the coming weeks. So hopefully you'll stay tuned and check us out on the website. Click on our link on the YouTube channel. Give us a call at the office. Instagram me, Twitter me, Facebook me, whatever you want to do. Always happy to hear from you guys. All right, thank you.